Oh no, my ads aren't working. Oh, what a shame. I hired this agency and I thought that they were going to get me leads, and all of a sudden I'm spending all this ad dollars and it's not actually generating any new clients for my business. Yeah, if that sounds familiar to you, you've probably got caught in the ads trap. And this is where you're relying on ads to try and generate something that maybe your business is having a hard time generating itself. And it's so interesting because a lot of the health pros and the practitioners that I speak with day to day are often conflicted about ads. Should I be spending ads on my business? Should I be using this type of cold outreach to generate new eyes on my services? Do I hire an agency to do this? Is this something that I need to do with myself? Is this something that I even need to be doing? And here's the thing, especially with ads and ads agencies, ads do work, but it's really important to understand what the purpose of the ad is. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode, understanding how to actually get your ads to work inside of your health practice, and alongside ads, understanding what's a good investment and what's not a good investment, because it's really easy for you to just throw money into the Facebook ether or YouTube ether because you're here on YouTube, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know if I should actually be getting a certain type of result. And here's the toughest part about ads. The toughest part is most people don't know what to expect in regards of results. They don't have any idea how to calculate the ROI, which is return of investment. And then the second thing is even if they have some type of an expectation, maybe they're not sure what platform, how to maximize that type of reach, or what the actual purpose of ads is. So going into the purpose, there's this kind of myth of marketing where most practitioners believe that marketing is basically just getting more eyeballs in your business. I need to get someone to see my services. I need to get someone to click on my website. I need to get someone to book a call with me. And these are all actions that someone is going to take, but that's not actually what ads is supposed to do. Ads is actually an entire experience that builds trust. From the start of when they see you to either when they're in front of you or when they join a program, the goal isn't just clicks. It's conversations, it's retention, and it's building reputation for yourself. Because the longer that you run an ad, the more people are going to see you, the more that they have to ask themselves, am I going to build trust with this person and say yes, or is this person not for me? And finally, I'm going to leave. And that's the interesting part, because a lot of times when I'm working with a lot of health practitioners, they tend to think of ads as a solution in two periods. The first is a period which I call the do or die period. This is where maybe they're having a hard time generating leads. They're finding themselves trading a lot of one-on-one time. They know that it's not sustainable to keep hustling and networking to find leads. So they go, well, you know what? I'm just going to throw money into this mystical machine of ads in hopes that all of a sudden it's going to start pumping out a bunch of new leads for my business. It's hit and miss. You might get a few people, but a lot of the times what you get are a lot of people who aren't serious, a lot of people who won't communicate back to you, maybe a lot of no-shows for your appointments, and then you're going to say to yourself, my ads, they didn't work. Well, not really, but let's go to the second period here. The second period is you've now gone from this place where you're no longer in the do or die. You have a team, you have a system, you have a process, leads are already coming in, and you're saying to yourself, I now have a marketing budget that I can actually put to ads consistently to grow my visibility so I always have future leads in the pipeline. And I think that both of these scenarios can work, and they can work well in your business, but you have to understand the experience of the ad itself, how someone is going to go through the journey of your advertisement and what actually happens after the click from the ad. Because if you don't understand this, regardless of whether you're trying to generate more leads for long-term nurture or try to fill in your lead funnel up front so that way you can get clients ASAP, if you don't understand what happens after the click, then you're not going to understand why your ads aren't working. Because there is a reason as to why ads don't work. It's not just some mystical thing where they're going to see you and then they're going to join. No, there's going to be other actions in between. So I want to break down kind of what I call post-click journey and where ads tends to leak. The first place is your website. A lot of the times when you are on social media or where you're creating a piece of content, content is all about emotional connection. It's all about getting someone to say yes in the moment where they are either feeling a high sense of pain or maybe they're feeling this high sense of conviction to say, hey, this person is right. I watched their video. I actually want to learn more about their service. And the same thing is true with ads. When you have an advertisement, a really good ad, it hits you in your feels. You go, wow, this coach, this health pro, they're speaking right to me. And then that's what makes you click the ad to either learn more or to take the next action step. This is where now it will lead to a landing page or a website. And this is where the disconnect is going to happen. Their emotional buy-in or their logical buy-in, depending on how you created the ad, needs to also answer the opposite inside of the website or the landing page. So the worst case scenario is someone goes from that advertisement, you've directed them to a spot, and all of a sudden where you've directed them doesn't answer any emotional or practical questions. It doesn't really build you up as the authority. The information is very vague. And so what happens is there becomes a gap of trust. This is where the person is going to look at this, say, I'm feeling off about this. The feeling hasn't carried over. I'm not exactly bought in. Maybe there's too many decisions as to what they have to do. A million click here's, there's not really any value. And so naturally, someone is going to leave. The website is such an underrated tool, or your landing page is such an underrated tool, because that copy can be something that actually reinforces and doubles down the feeling for the person. A good landing page and a good website can really sell and promote your service and have people sign up without you even being present. The key, though, is it speaking to the emotional side of their brain, the logical side of their brain, like price points, guarantees, what's involved? Is it also speaking to the level of credibility that you have by either showing client testimonials or also maybe showing some of the certifications that you have? So that way, by the time someone goes through all of the information, they are emotionally bought in, they logically understand what it is, they have a level of certainty that it's actually going to work for them because they've either seen some of your clients or maybe they've seen your guarantee and they're like, yeah, I can be bought into this. And then the call to action is simple enough and easy enough for them to do it effortlessly. That is effectively a good website and a good landing page. And 99% of ads that I see for health practitioners, they know how to create a piece of content to explain information, but they don't know how to create copy to actually get someone to engage. And so this is normally the first place in which you're going to lose those leads. And then you're like, oh, where did they go? The next thing that people will kind of tend to drop off from ads is what I call phone and email response. This is where either your communication to them is delayed, it's robotic, it's unwelcoming, where when they start having the interest, you're either taking too long or you're not getting them excited about the process. Typically, this happens when there is no process in place. You're speaking to everyone differently. You're reaching out in different ways. You don't have a process put together. Maybe you're back to back on client sessions. And by the time you reach out to the lead, they've lost interest. And that can't happen, especially if you're running ads. You need to respond to that person within the first 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes for the first touch point. Even if the first touch point is something like, hey, I'm back to back with clients, but I'm going to get back to you in an hour or two. That's fine. It goes 15 minutes, 3 hours. And then from that 3 hour start of the conversation, you need to have that conversation said and done same day. Because if you're taking 3 days to go through a conversation, it's just going to be too much of an energy pull. And again, your leads are going to go somewhere else. So it's not enough to just run the ad. If you're delaying the communication or if it's very copy and paste and unscripted answers and they don't feel like the conversation is genuine, they're going to leave. So all of these cold leads that are coming in, they're going to start to feel like maybe this person doesn't really care, or they're just going to lose interest and they're going to leave anyways. Now, even if you can get the conversation started, even if you can have the website that's on point, there's still another area of the experience where you can lose someone, which is the intake. This is where the aspect of booking a call, the aspect of them filling out a form, or all of the kind of to-dos before they speak with you can feel more like paperwork and less like care. Especially being in a health industry, all of the questions that should be on your application, all of the questions that should be to go into booking a phone consultation or to have a one-on-one call with you should be something that actually helps you pre-qualify them, but also helps them pre-qualify themselves to understand whether or not your service is for them. We don't need to know excessive information. You don't need a full panel of health history. You don't need to know who are the people that they've worked with in the past. It should be something very straightforward where the person can go through and basically do a self-assessment for them, and then just enough for you to understand where they are at in the journey. In my personal experience, anything that takes longer than 10 minutes is way too long. And even from a 10-minute perspective, unless you're already booked up with one-on-one and you're doing type of a pre-screening, you don't want to have too many steps. Oftentimes, you just want to lead it to a lighthearted conversation in the DMs, and then you can pre-qualify and move them to a call from there. Either way, the intake is very important, because if your intake feels like, hey, you've got to fill out 10 forms and then do this and then watch this video here, there ends up being a lot of upfront work that they have to do, and they're not even sure if they quite trust you yet. So as you go through all of these three things, the website, the conversation, your action steps before speaking with them, each of these steps chips away at trust before they even get to treatment, before they even get to speak with you about what a solution is. So the ad is an experience. If I click on an ad and my experience is I really resonate with the message, I click on the ad, they take 7 days to get back to me. Maybe I click on one of their other ads and I drop a comment underneath. They go, hey, sorry, but the conversation feels rushed and there's no real structure. To me as a lead, it's an indicator to that's how my care is going to be. It's going to be unstructured. It's not going to be it's not going to be led right. I feel like I'm going to have to lead myself. And all of these things is going to make me question you as the practitioner and as the professional. Now, even if you get the ad right, and this is where you're going in, the website is good, the content is good, there is still this area of where you can kind of lose clients. And this is where the ad itself does not guarantee a client. It's not like you're going to get a click, there's going to be immediate sign up. A large part of whether clients stay or stray is the experience of the first visit. So usually when people either speak with you the first time, maybe to get some information, maybe they're having a 15-minute phone call with you, maybe they do initial consultation, what happens after these three things is very, very important. So if you have a conversation with them, do you follow up? And do you have a personalized follow-up? Is there any accountability as to when they're going to speak with you again? Is there any reactivation system for any of these people who have maybe spoken with you in the past, but maybe at that time they either couldn't afford it or it wasn't something that was for them in the moment? Most professionals don't have time to do this. Their systems either aren't set up in the back end to be able to do this automatically, or they do it all manually with every single person. And so when they get busy working with clients one-on-one or in groups, then all of a sudden they stop doing the follow-up piece. Follow-up is so important because if you're going to have someone fill out a form or sign up for something or become a lead, they expect that you're going to communicate with them. And I can tell you there are a lot of coaches, and this works from both coaches and clients, who in simple things like me reaching out 4 months later say, hey, do you still have this issue? Will respond back with me and say, hey, you know what? I do still have this issue. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Let's have this conversation and let's sign up. There are also going to be a lot of clients who go through that as well too, who need reminders, who need for you to follow up. And it can be easy for you to say, well, these people are not serious, which is why they're not reaching back out to me. Here's what I want you to know, especially about ads. These people are cold. They don't know you. They haven't fully built any trust in you. You haven't provided any significant amounts of value to them. Maybe they're still trying to learn who you are. Maybe they're in a point of their journey in which they do need the follow-up or they do need the support to be able to say yes to themselves. These are not bad clients. These are not bad people. Some part of them was interested in your service. So why on earth are you treating them like, this person is not serious? The reality is that's actually a mindset shift for most of these health pros. Most health pros who say, I don't want to do the follow-up because these people should be following up with me, either don't know how to do follow-up or they believe that they're above it because they've spent so much time in the industry. They're like, okay, well, this person should be seeing me. You need to have a personalized follow-up plan. You need to have a way to keep them accountable, and you need to have a reactivation system for these people who have maybe spoken to you or have maybe had a conversation in the past and a way to bring them back in. If you don't have any of this, which is what I call the internal communication, this actually makes potential leads feel unseen. Marketing doesn't end when they book. It ends when they stay. So in my opinion, you don't stop the nurture, you don't stop the email sequences, you don't stop the reach outs until someone either says stop, like I'm out, hey, I'm not interested, they unsubscribe, don't call me, or when they say, hey, yes, I'm in, and they sign up. And let me tell you something, of all of the coaches and practitioners who are successful, like they have consistent recurring months that are building month over month past 30K, every single one of them has a really solid nurture process. They always have reactivation of old leads, and they're always retargeting old leads with new ads. And this is actually the best way that ads can work. Ads don't just have to be the thing that attracts new clients. You can also attract a new client and retarget older people who have seen ads to then keep you top of mind all the time. Retargeting is how you start to niche down and you really start to speak to that individual person who keeps watching the ads over and over again. This will help them make decisions faster. It'll help you understand what specifically they're looking for, depending on how long they're watching or where they stopped or opted out of the funnel. And it actually allows your ads to get better and better. But again, just like the follow-up, most practitioners and professionals don't do retargeting. They're either running the ads themselves and they have no idea how to retarget to these people, or they're hiring agencies whose sole job is just cost per click. They don't have a budget, because you probably give them a very small one, to do retargeting with your money. So if they're not going to either self-exit or join your world, you have to have a way to continuously market to them. Now, when it comes to marketing, and especially running ads, as I have a, holy cow, giant eyelash in my eye. Nice. That's fly. Have you ever had eyelashes the size of freaking Mount Everest? That's me. And it's crazy because when I get one, it sets off both eyes like crazy. There it is. Holy cow. Look at this thing. Giant. Anyways, so let's talk about the marketing math that nobody tracks, okay? When we look towards marketing to see if it's actually successful, it's not just looking at cost per click and the cost of lead acquisition. Because if you go, oh, my cost per click is 6 cents, great, but the 6 cents resulted in 0 clients, then your cost per click is actually way higher than that. We have to look at all of the numbers together, and there are some other numbers that are really important to help you determine not only whether or not you should continue marketing or whether or not your ads are actually working. So the first thing is your show up rate after booking. So if you get someone all the way into a booked call, most people go, hey, I got you this client. They went all the way and they booked. Okay, cool. They booked, but did they in fact show up? Most practitioners have a 40% no-show rate when it comes to their ads on average. So booking is just stage one. Showing up is the real thing, because this actually gives you the real shot to be able to sell them on your service. So first, you have to look at your show up rate after booking. Then you have to look at your retention rate after the first program. This is really important. There's no point in signing on a person if a month or two later, they either cancel or they stop showing up. That means that it wasn't the right person and you need to start tweaking the messaging in your ads. Next thing that we look at is if that person does stay, what is the lifetime value per client? Because this will completely affect the way that you run your ads. So as an example, if the majority of professionals who work with me spend anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000, cool. So I know, all right, that's usually for a first program. And if they stay with me for a year long, it's anywhere from 52 to 65. Cool. So if my lifetime rate inside of C2C is $65K for a person, can I afford to spend $1,000 to acquire a client? Yes, because that client is going to make me $25K to $65K. So if my cost per lead click is $1,000 to get someone show and booked, that's well worth it. You have to understand the numbers and compare it to the lifetime value. Now let's put it to most professionals. If most professionals have a program and the program is, let's say, $800, well, you can't spend $600 to acquire an $800 client. Because again, if you're only acquiring 2 people and you're marketing for 3 or 4 months, guess what? You're going to be in the red very, very easily with your marketing budget. So you have to look at how much am I spending in acquiring to actually get this client and how much did they pay me? This is a very big indicator as to whether or not your ads are working. Most people are using a window that is too small. 90-day marketing window is what you should be using to see whether or not your ads are working. If you spend money, you're spending money monthly, and after 90 days, if you're not making up at least the first month's marketing budget, your marketing is broken. Something inside of it, you need to either make an adjustment to your budget, to your ads, to the copy, to the website. You got to start looking at all these things. So alongside lifetime value, there's also your referral rate too. Maybe you don't make any money off the first 2 clients that you sign up from your ads, but maybe those clients refer 3 people and then all of a sudden you're profitable. You have to contribute those 3 referrals to your ad spend. And a lot of people don't do that because they're not tracking it. They're not like, where did you come from? How did you hear about us? Sandy referred you? Cool. Sandy came from ads. This is why it's so important to have a process to understand where those numbers come from. I ask all the time, where did you hear about me? Most of the coaches and professionals we work with, it's from YouTube. They're like, hey, been watching a bunch of your YouTube videos, amazing. And that's what made me and prompted me to reach out. Or they come from my Instagram where we're having conversations and they're reaching out directly from there. So it is easy for me to see where I can start focusing my attention on, and of course, where I can be putting more ads towards as well too. But you have to track these things. So everything from the show up rate after booking, the retention rate after the first program, your lifetime value, the referral rate, these tell you how good your marketing experience actually is. Because if they're not staying for a full program, if they're not referring anybody, and on top of that, you're getting few clients far in between, there's got to be something wrong with the experience of your ads. And this is where now you have to go and you ask yourself, well, if ads can work, if they're good, if I can both use ads to get people up front and use ads to keep a long-term nurture on the back end of steady leads coming in, the question becomes, how do I fix these leaks? How do I look at my ad set and say what's broken, what's not broken? And this is where you have to start auditing the experience of the ads, not just the ads. So what I like to do is what I call secret shopper calls. So this is where I will call from a random person's phone. I'll follow up with a lead from someone else. I'll send a message, and say, hey, team, you go and you message this person and ask for feedback. What was your feedback? What was your experience? How did you feel through this process? Another thing is also intake reviews. If you do get clients that do sign up from ads, are you asking them what the experience was? Hey, I would love to hear about your experience from the start to when you joined us. Was the experience smooth? Did you feel like the conversation was great? Did we assist you with everything that you were talking about before you ended up joining? This is a great way, basically it's a follow-up audit. It's a great way for you to audit the system and the process. The only way we can audit the experience is by either messaging people who have commented on the ad, which some people don't if they're not interested, or being a secret shopper, or just asking people who have gone through the experience yourself. Once you do that and you get the feedback, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Maybe they're going to say, I didn't really feel like the landing page spoke to me. Cool, we can change that. Maybe it was like, hey, the ad was kind of vague, but as I started watching your videos, I actually got to know you better. Cool, we know we need to change our ad. Maybe it's like, to be honest with you, I only saw one ad, in which case you're like, oh, well, one ad, they should be seeing 5 to 10 ads. Maybe I need to increase my budget. This is where then you can start to make adjustments and you can align your team or align your actions around the client journey. That's the whole purpose of a successful ad campaign, is to align your actions around the client journey. How can I make the ad resonate with them? How can I have a call to action that's very simple for them to understand? The website, the landing page addresses all of their questions and makes it super clear as to what's involved. How can I have the conversation so whether there's 50 people or 500 people in the DMs, the same thing happens every time. So when I have a person in front of me or when I sign a person up, they're the same person every time and they got the same experience every time. This is when you're going to find your ads will work. Here's the biggest thing that stops ads from working. You hire a marketing agency and you don't know how to make your ads successful, they won't know how to make your ads successful. You're running ads just straight out of desperation because you're hoping that you're going to get a bunch of leads up front when your messaging is not dialed in. Your ads are using stuff from your content that's regurgitated and your organic content is not hitting, so your ads won't hit. And then on top of that, you have a very small budget, as in $1,000 or less per month. And that's not enough for you to get the proper outreach to actually get a proper pool of people. The final thing is your ads are in the wrong place. Your client's on LinkedIn and you're advertising on YouTube. Your client's on TikTok, but you've got stuff on Facebook. These are the common mistakes that health pros are making all the time. And then they're going to go and they're going to blame the ads. My agency didn't help me. The ads didn't work. My advertising is broken. Oh, I'm not going to give money to Facebook anymore. Let me make something super, super clear. Every single platform that you pay to put ads on wants you to get clients. They want your ads to succeed because they want you to keep paying them. Every single time we run ads campaigns, and we run enough ad campaigns where we actually have a Facebook person that we reach out to and we can communicate all the time, they're the friendliest people. They want our ads to succeed. They make recommendations as to what to change in the ad. And on top of that, they're there to also help us optimize the ad sets, where to put them, when to post them, how many times you change them, because they know if you make more money, you're going to increase your ad spend and you're going to pay them more. It is to their disadvantage to not create ads that are successful for you. They don't just want to take your money for a day. They want you to stay in their ecosystem for years, just like you want your clients to stay in their ecosystem with. So it doesn't make any sense when you say, oh, Facebook is just a money grab. Oh, YouTube just has ads that are a money grab. I've done ads in tons of places, and I'm actually exploring Reddit right now, which is a kind of unique, cool thing, because I'm finding a lot of coaches are searching from there and they've got little talk groups and stuff. But regardless of where you're putting ads, I've done them on YouTube, I've done them on TikTok, we've done them on Instagram, we've done them on Facebook, we've run LinkedIn ads. Every single one of them has worked, but you have to understand the ecosystem that's there. You have to have a really niched in targeted audience, and you have to know where to make the adjustments. So if your ads aren't working, it's not because ads suck. It's usually because either your agency sucks or you suck at running ads. And that's okay, because I can tell you there is no single practitioner that is a great marketer, because all of us are practitioners. We know how to help the client. We know how to work with the person one-on-one. We know how to deliver an experience. We don't know anything about marketing. And here's what really made me realize this, that like ads is a really, really big problem. It's because regardless of who was approaching me with conversations around ads, they all started the same way. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to check if the agency is doing it right. I don't know how to check if my team is running the ads right. I don't know if the ads are running right. regardless of what stage their business was. They said the same thing. I don't know what I'm doing around the ads. And the only reason why ads worked for me is because I have this analytical mind where I kept saying, why? If I don't have a low cost per click, why? If I'm getting leads on the front end and a lot of people to sign up for the thing, but not a lot of booked calls, why? I kept asking why because I was just interested in the process. It is a lot of trial and error. It is a lot of back and forth. This is why ads has to be something that is long-term. Ads work the best when you have a steady and dedicated marketing budget that is just consistent. It's always running. It's always $600 to $1,000. That's always building brand awareness. So that way, as you're continuing to do your business, get referrals, build leads, ads are always bringing in new eyes around your stuff. But I would say, if you're a health pro and you're like, okay, look, my website is dialed in, all of these other things I've looked on, but my ads still aren't hitting, it's probably because your organic content's not hitting too. Usually, the way that we create ads is we will take an organic piece of content that's functioning really well. My wife is a great example of this. She's a binge eating coach, and her videos get 1 million views. If I know that something is getting 1 million views, 3,000 shares, 44,000 likes, I know that it is speaking to the right people because people are engaging with it. And on top of that, she gets reach outs from those organic posts. So if we look at that and we say, okay, a 1 million view video has all of these things, already gets people organically signing up. If we were to take that same copy, the same script, say it the same way, and then just slightly tweak it in the form of an ad, it's going to work, and it's going to work well because we already have the proof that it's going to work. A lot of the times, it doesn't really make sense for you to be running ads if you have less than 10,000 followers, your content, your social media gets less than 300 views, you don't have a lot of clicks, because there's no feedback as to whether or not your audience is actually interested in what you have to say. And that's not a knock on you as a pro. It's not like, oh, you're a shitty professional. No, it has nothing to do with that. It just means that your content's not winning right now. And that's okay. When you go and you take a look at me on socials, I have a very micro audience. I have less than 2,000 followers. My stuff is largely on YouTube. I can see the type of people that are tracking things, but I'm not getting 1 million views on our stuff. So the only way for me to understand what professionals we're looking for is to make adjustments and commit to it as a long-term experience. So if you're not prepared to commit to ads as a long-term experience for your practice, if you're also not prepared to have ads long-term and to do the trial and error and experiment, maybe you don't have the budget right now, or maybe you're trying to use it as this temporary boost in your revenue, then don't do it. Double down on what you already know. Most of the time, if you do that, double down on networking, get double the leads, ask for more referrals, you'll get more referrals. That will give you more business than doing ads. I only recommend ads for the clients that we work with that are that 22 to 25K and up a month. They have that recurring revenue where they can set aside $2,000 to $3,000, $1,000 to manage the ads, $1,000 or $2,000 for the ads themselves, and then the ads become a set it and forget it. It's about awareness. It's about leading to master classes. It's about maybe pushing some freebies where people can start to learn about your service, maybe some smaller programs, and then from there, then you can start nurturing them long term. I will say this though, when it comes to ads, if you do have ads in your business and your ads are running and they're running well, the conversion rate for ads doesn't have to be something that's long. That's another myth too when it comes to ads, is people go, these people are so cold, they're not going to buy in a day or two. No, if you have the right message and you really press on that pain point and you do it in a way that gets them excited, not depressed about needing support from you, they can absolutely reach out and sign up ASAP. Like, I just had someone from the YouTube channel who was like, found your YouTube channel, watched a bunch of your videos, been checking you out for 2 months, and then I booked a call and he signed up yesterday. That process of watching the videos, doing the stuff, it doesn't have to take 1 million years. You don't have to be in a funnel system for 6 months. And if anything, that's another hidden area that you should be looking at as well. Like if you've got leads that you've been nurturing for 6 months, 8 months, and you see them opening the emails, you see them absorbing the stuff, then I would argue you're either not nurturing correctly or you're not qualifying, disqualifying. Qualifying is you get them to the point where they say, hey, I'm ready. Disqualifying is if they've been in the system for so long, you get them to the point where you say you're either in or I'm kicking you out. And I bet you've never done that with your nurture system either. That's really important. I used to do this with hormone coaching all the time. If I see someone download all 50 of the PDFs on digestion, but they don't join the digestion program, I call them out on it. Hey, congratulations for downloading the 50th freebie that I've had. My question to you is this: when are you actually going to work with me? Not because I need your money, but because the freebies aren't helping you. Right, Mark? And you know what I get? I get two responses. I get the person that goes, you really called me out here. All right, guess what? I'm in. Let's have that conversation. Or you get the person who goes, hey, you can take me off your list. Because guess what? The people who will hunt freebies will always hunt freebies, regardless of whether it's ads or organic. I run a tight ship. I keep my leads tight. I keep my nurture tight. I keep my call to actions tight. I keep the sales process tight. And I keep my ads really tight because I only want to attract a specific set of person. We only work with coaches who are self-led, who are dedicated to their brand, who want to help more people, who value impact over income, but also still want to make income. They want to build a business where the business can run separately without them. In order to do that, I have to call people out on stuff. And this is why our ads are effective. They've been effective in the past. They're still effective to this day. I'm literally filming YouTube ads next Friday to go out because they do work and they can work really well. But you have to take all of these things into account. And if you're struggling to run your ads, one thing I will say, I am not an ad agency. I won't run your ads. I'll probably recommend you don't do ads. I'll probably just work with you on content. Content is the biggest indicator. If you're not getting leads organically first, your ads are still not going to get leads because you're not hitting organically. You're not speaking to the person organically. Having your content win organically is the solution to fixing your freaking ads. And that's what we work with. Client converting content is a large part of the coach to coach program, where we help you client speak, where we're using the same verbiage that your ideal clients are using, so that way the message they can get at their level. And we also use ascension-based content, so when someone goes in, they know what the next step is. They want to take the next CTA. They want to book the call because they're starting to pre-qualify themselves. This is where you can get your client or your lead, your future client. This is where you can get them to become self-led, to become more driven, to embody the traits and characteristics that you're looking for that will make them reach out and work with you. It doesn't have to be more time on content. It doesn't have to be spending hours doing all these stupid freaking like roll around in the chair or like you're doing all these crazy scenario videos. No, you just have to hit them with a message that's real and that's organic. And then at that point, they're going to say to themselves, I really resonate with this coach. And that's the thing that most of the coaches, when they start to work with me, say, they're like, I really resonate with you as a person. You're no nonsense. You share the information. When you do it, you're just like, hey, here's what it is. Here's what you need to do next. And it's very transparent. And because of that, because I just show up organically and I talk about myself and I'm very open, well, that makes people magnetized to me. They say, well, I want to be more open as a practitioner. I want to just be able to share my stuff. I just want to come from a place of care and give. It's that simple. So it's usually not the ads, it's the content, and I can help you with the content inside of C2C. Otherwise, go fix your freaking ads if you're still going to run your ads. That is all for this episode, folks. Thanks again for watching another episode or listening to another episode of C2C. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and don't hesitate to share the channel with other health pros, nutritionists, naturopaths, physiotherapists, personal trainers. It doesn't matter. Tons of these professionals can, with just a little bit of information, make huge changes to their brands and start to build their business as well. If you care about helping more people, then the belief of every practitioner should also be winning like you're winning. That should be your number one priority. There's no such thing as conflict. There's no such thing as a rivalry. As a matter of fact, with hormone coaching, I used to refer to other hormone specialists. There is plenty of people to help. It's, are we giving the tools, the resources, the time, and the energy to help more practitioners, just like we are doing this to help more people. I'll leave you with that. That's all for this episode, guys, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.